Right, next up, we have another live. All these live feeds. I'm loving these live ones. Whew. Sorry, honestly. I just run to the toilet. I had to go real quick. And then I heard Paul finish and had to rush back. Right. Caroline.
Hiya.
How are you, Caroline? You all right?
I'm good. Have you got me all right?
Yeah,
all
looking
nicely
good.
streaming.
How's things?
Oh, all right. I'm kind of stuck in isolation, but I've got to admit, because I have a prior health condition, I enjoyed Paul's talk then. Absolutely brilliant. So it's been an amazing morning. Thank you for organising.
Yeah,
so,
do you know what? It's really nice because I can see now I've got a waiting room and there's like 4 teachers in here, and I can see your reactions as Paul was talking then, which was really great to see. So thanks very much for that.
Yeah, it was really good. And it was nice to see you and Nick. We're both part of the Gender Equality Collective, aren't we? So I was cheering you on from backstage.
We still haven't met yet. We have to very soon.
One of them, isn't it? I've just never got the opportunity, and I'm not at the moment as all stuck in. It's nice that we can kind of get together like this. So thank you for everybody who's organising BrewEd. It's been brilliant.
Yeah, it's been cool. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to go and leave you to
it. I'm going to talk about the digital divide. So, hi guys. I'm not going to make this massively long. I'm just going to share my screen here so that you can get this shared up and everybody can see. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the digital divide. I'm hoping everybody's getting this just nice. So I wrote a report. I was the editor for the Education Foundation's report just recently. And we had lots and lots of contributions, and there was loads of people from home learning and loads of people who did surveys for Martin Hamilton. And we wrote this big report. I'm not going to go into it massively because we're talking about the digital divide, but it covered a lot. And it covered a little bit about digital exclusion. 69 million 6.9 million people remain digitally excluded, 1 million children from the Learning Foundation estimated 2.7 million children living in low-income families that have restricted digital access. Days later, after we came out with the report, everybody came out with this. It was great. It was, BBC Bite Size got on board, and we had laptops offered from online schools at home, and we had the Oak Academy, and I was thrilled. I was very happy with all of these. And it got me thinking about how we wrote this report when I was asked to do this one for the digital divide. And I looked at it, and me and Ty Goddard had spent a long time thinking about this diagram, a lot of time debating it, hours and hours, about what's the digital divide and what is digital really about. You've got at this end schools and teachers, and at the other end pupils and parents in the middle. And the more and more we discussed this document, and the more and more we looked at this particular model, the more we realized really digital is at its core about communication. It's about being able to communicate with your pupils, and really bridging the digital gap is doing that. You can't teach who you can't reach. So realistically, we have these kind of models here that look at these kinds of communication, and it got me thinking this week about the way that we phrase our arguments with digital. We often, every tool's a hammer. We think about it from a very learning point of view. But if anything, COVID has shown very clearly that schools are more than a GCSE grade at the end, much, much more. So I wanted to phrase it in a different way, the digital divide, for you today. So some of the economic impacts of digital exclusion in the UK. We've got Dot Everybody and its partners frameworked out some of the basic digital skills that people needed for managing communication, information, problem solving, creativity, and they mapped it out in a really great report. So here are the economic benefits of bridging that gap. You've got social capital up at the top, for teens saying they feel more connected. You've got economic disparity. So you've got £571 million of economic benefit by 2028. You've got the cost to the NHS. They're saving £6.40 for every £1 spent on digital inclusion support. We've got employability, 313 million. We've got time, the value of the time that we save, 1.1 billion. Communication benefits of 400 million. Digital efficiency savings, corporate benefits, 1.5 billion. All of these things are things that we gain from closing the digital gap. And this is from the Centre for Economic and Business Research. So, and it implies the benefit is almost £15 for every £1 invested. So I want us to maybe look at it not just as having a digital education is not just about maybe judging whether one app benefited a young person in one particular aspect of learning, but also it's about the skills that that young person will gain for a lifelong transformation in, you know, how they live. So, you know, we educate, produce rounded individuals and to have a productive life. Because if that's what we're doing, then having a digital education and access to digital devices, access to digital across our curriculums improves lives overall for very, very many people, not just in a learning capacity. When we come to look at it from just learning, we have to do really careful studies on that. It's very difficult to unmangle how digital improves learning, and we can't just look at it on a, you know, from the classroom versus the digital offer. If anything, as I said, this crisis has taught us very much that schools are not just about a grade at the end. And if we want to improve the life chances of our young people, then we cannot ignore the benefits of a digital education. So, you know, please read the report, and I'm going to go back to, hopefully back to you, Graham, if he's about, because I've kind of rounded it up so you could maybe ask some questions. I'm hoping that all came out right, because at this moment where you can only see your screen on a PowerPoint, you know, when you're kind of like, it's not working.
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks so much. Do you know, it's so important. I mean, I feel I'm quite good, like digitally and technically and things like that. And if I'm not sure about something, I'll always, you know, look it up or have a little play and try and do things myself. But we were sort of thrown into this, weren't we? You know, when it happened, we were sort of told, you know, schools are closing. We're going to have to teach our children remotely, online learning. And we were left to it. I know things have come into play, like you say now, with the Oak Academy and the BBC and things like that. But it's been trying to find a way.
I think it's still not as vast as we'd like it to be, though. I think, you know, when you look at it on those kind of economic benefits, you know, sheerly from that point of view, it does showcase just how important having digital skills is. You know, for things like access to the NHS or, you know, teaching young people how to do basic skills now. You know, the world has moved on. Yeah. And yes, we can, you know, debate the research and we should absolutely debate the research regarding digital education and using digital for learning. But we can't deny now the need for digital throughout schools and the need for access, just to make sure that we can have our kids prepared for the world that's outside our school gates. And I think it's not just a case of that being a benefit for, you know, our Progress 8. It is a benefit for their whole lives. As I said, you know, you can't teach who you can't reach. And at the moment, there are many children who we cannot reach.
Yeah. And tech isn't just a PlayStation or an Xbox in the corner. And this is what we found as a school, that parents are trying to homeschool and access the homeschool learning through things like phones. And you think, well, it's just not going to work if you do that. So, yeah, I think it's, and I don't think there isn't an answer to it yet. I think but there is that. You're right. The digital divide is there. How do we close that? How do we close that gap so that everybody gets access to everything that goes on?
And I think we don't have that argument enough that in closing that gap, what do we gain? You know, £15 for every £1 spent. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, you know, that it's in our economic interests to close that gap, not just our educational interests. And, you know, having that gap closed for children young, you know, will benefit their lives educationally overall.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thanks for
You are
joining.
very welcome. It's been a delight.
Yeah, thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I've got, look at it. Can you see? We got Mark there. We got Emma there.
Oh,
Look
we
at
got
them
everybody
all.
in the backstage, haven't we?
Yeah. Thanks very
Thanks
much.
very much.
Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Caroline. Take care.